Hi, welcome to valuationpodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things related to business and valuation. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I provide online divorce mediation and valuation services in St. Louis, Missouri. Today, we will discuss the current housing market and divorce with Melissa Rubenstein. She is a former real estate attorney and a current realtor in New York and New Jersey, and has a lot of interesting perspectives in real estate, where everything's going. Welcome, Melissa. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, and I think that the interesting when we were talking about this, piggybacking upon kind of like a realtor will come in and look at the outside of the house, the specs of the house and where it's located and comps and all of this. But you actually have some really, really good advice for a divorcing couple who is considering selling their house. And it has to do with a little pre-planning, but give them the advice that I just thought was amazing.
So
And
yes,
it's, yeah, yeah.
my biggest piece of advice to divorcing couples, but probably anyone selling a home, is to do a pre-inspection. A pre-inspection is the same as an inspection that a buyer would do. And you bring in your inspector. It can range from a few $100s up to maybe $1,000, depending on what you want them to look for. And they are going to give you probably a 40-page report on everything going on in your home. I think it's hard to properly value a home unless you know what's going on inside the walls. A realtor is going to go through, they're going to see your number of bedrooms, number of baths, cosmetics, the neighborhood, everything like that. What we can't see is, are there structural issues? Are there termites, mold, things? Is there an issue with your furnace or your boiler? These are things that are going to have to be negotiated down the line, and it could take a home that's worth $550,000, and by the time you're negotiating these credits, it could be worth $500,000. And I can tell you that the most nail-biting part of a home sale is when the inspector is done, and they're pretty quiet during the inspection, and because they don't want to alarm anybody and they don't want to give too much away, then you get that 40-page inspection report. And the buyer, who this maybe is their first home and they think it's perfect, and they now have to see all the flaws in the home. The seller, who thinks their house, they have an accepted offer for $600,000, and oh my gosh, there's mold, there's termite damage. There are things that can be remediated, but they're going to cost money. What a pre-inspection does is it lays out all the flaws. It says, okay, these are the things that are going to have to be fixed, maybe fixed, not necessarily fixed. You can bring that into your mediation, and you and the other divorcing party can go through that list and say, okay, not only are we going to address some of the cosmetics, these are the things that we're going to address before we get the house on the market, so that we are smooth sailing. We're not going to lose our buyer. We're not going to get hit with surprises, because as you know, in a divorce mediation or trial, surprises are the worst thing. They're the last thing that we want.